Man, talk about a late night show that is fire. Let's talk about Late Night with the Devil. Let's go.
Dr. June Ross Mitchell and Lily, the young subject of the book, Conversations with the Devil.
Late Night with the Devil. It's a 2023 found footage horror film that is written and edited by Australian siblings Cameron and Colin Cairns, and it stars David Dastmalchian, Laura Gordon, and Ian Bliss. Guys, I'm going to be talking about Late Night with the Devil, which is going to be released in theaters on March the 22nd and then on Shudder on April the 4th. This is going to be a spoiler-free review of Late Night with the Devil. This was a film that I was really interested in after I saw the trailer. I was thinking to myself, what is this movie about? It was really intriguing. And anytime you have an actor who's so talented, especially as a character type of actor like David Dastmalchian, you already have my intrigue. You've already got my interest, and I'm ready to rock and roll. Now, let me just start off with an overview. But before I do that, please hit the like button. It helps us support the channel, and I'd appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the Nightwatch Zone, this is the time to do it. So do it and become part of this fantastic movie community where you'll never love and talk about movies the same. So the thing about this film is presented in a found footage type of style, okay? And that I was not necessarily expecting, although the trailer does give that away, but I'll get to what I mean. It's very clever because you have David playing this character called Jack Delroy, who's the host of a fictional 1970s variety and late night talk show that's called Night Owls with Jack Delroy. The story is basically supposed to be a rediscovered tape of an episode from the show that took place on Halloween of 1977. That's very cool. It has a lot of atmosphere. You got people that are dressed up in their Halloween costumes and so forth. And basically what we're watching is this live television broadcast where a bunch of havoc just unfolds right on camera, and especially when Delroy is interviewing what she calls herself is a parapsychologist and the subject of a recent book, and a teenager who was the sole survivor of a satanic cult. So that's kind of the basic setup. Now, what was really smart about this movie is that for me, it just pulls me in right in the beginning as far as being very curious where it's going. You have in the very beginning this voiceover that's kind of introducing this world that you're going to be a part of for the runtime of an hour and a half. And I was, as I'm watching it, I'm thinking, okay, what do we got going on here? And I mean that in a really good way. Okay, guys, like I was very interested because I'm going to be honest with you. I can't recall seeing a movie done in this particular fashion. I think it was very smart in the way that they crafted the story and the world that you're watching. This is a late night talk show, and you're seeing snippets of their broadcast, and you're getting this story about Jack and about his life and his rise to fame, and he's in this big struggle, this big war with Johnny Carson because he's trying to be the #1 talk show. Now, for me, that rings very clear because I grew up in a time where late night talk shows were very popular. Okay, when you talk about Jay Leno, you talk about David Letterman. Obviously now you've got Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon and stuff like that, but this was like a throwback to real old school. I'm talking about old school, like my parents watching late night talk shows. So I will say this, for people that are open to that and that style, you're going to be really impressed with how this movie takes you into that world, okay? Especially if you grew up around that time, or if you're a fan of those things, because you can find a whole bunch of clips of a lot of old late night talk show episodes on YouTube, right? So that's #1. If you are not a fan of that, or if it just doesn't really vibe with you, then you're probably not going to enjoy this movie as much, or at least you probably won't think you will. And that's what I want to get to, because I think with this movie, is really clever about is it's giving you multiple layers, okay? Because you're following the story of this character Jack and his struggles and his, he's trying to fight and scratch and claw his way to the top. And so it's also giving us like that bird's eye view of the industry, of how Hollywood, your fight for fame and all those types of things. Because in other words, the movie is saying a lot of different things, which I think is very cool for a horror film when it's done organically. When it's done organically within the film itself, within the plot, and it's not trying to beat you over the head, which it's not. It's not trying to beat you over the head with anything at all, but it's giving you the bird's eye view of a late night talk show host. And I liked it. I liked it. I really did. I thought it was very cool. It was clever. The acting, I thought the acting was great. You don't have a lot of characters, so you can spend time with the principal cast and really kind of, dig your way into what they're doing. Interesting character arc for Jack, who is obviously the lead, played by David Dastmalchian. All I can say is, wow. I think this was a great role for him. I really enjoyed his performance, and I hope that this brings him a lot more success and a lot more leading role opportunities. I do want to say that. For the other actors, Laura Gordon, who is June Ross Mitchell, the parapsychologist and author, I thought that she was good in her role. But someone who really stole the show for me is Ian Bliss, who played Carmichael. He was kind of like a former performer, magician who became a skeptic, and he is well known to Jack. He's been on the late night talk show before, so they have this interesting little chemistry between them. But he was very, very cool, and I enjoyed all the scenes with him, and some really cool stuff that happened with him, and I won't give that away. You also have, who's really kind of important to the story too, Ingrid Torelli is Lily, who is the young girl that was part of a satanic cult. She was rescued from a satanic cult and so forth. And so there were a lot of interesting scenes with her. Okay, so let's get to the horror side of it. This is one of those movies, first of all, there's not a lot of blood, guts, and gore, but there are some moments where stuff goes down and you're like, wow. Number one, it's done in an organic way, so it kind of takes you by surprise. Nothing is cheap, and I appreciated that as well. Some pretty good effects and some things that I had never seen before, either in a found footage movie or a possession movie or anything like that. And it's really cool to see a movie that can do something familiar, turn it on its head, and give us something that's fresh and new. And I think that's ultimately what I take away with Late Night with the Devil. It is a movie that was, when I was done with it, okay, and even right now, I'm still absorbing it. When I was done with the film, I was thinking about it. I was like, wow, it like stuck with me in my mind, and I love that because I was thinking about what I had seen, and I was trying to, put some pieces of the puzzle together, so it makes you think a little bit. But it's one of those movies that I can see myself watching in a steady rotation, especially, let me just say this could be one of those movies that'd be a great Halloween time type movie, and again, it's done in a way where it kind of almost sneaks up on you. Let me just say that without going into spoilers. But I definitely enjoyed it. I was so glad I could see it before it opens in theaters, and I think it's a high recommend for me. It was very well done, and it's crazy because the Rotten Tomatoes score is at 100%, and I would assume that it's going to stay pretty high. I don't think it's going to stay at 100, but I think it's going to stay pretty high, and there's a reason for that, guys. So that's all I'm going to say. You guys should check out this movie. So anyways, let me know in the comment section down below. Have you heard about this film? Number one, there's not a lot of talk about it, and I think that's because, you know, it's sneaking up on people, but I think people are they're gonna hear about it. I really do. So let me know if you've heard about it. Have you seen the trailer? Are you excited to see it? Let's talk about it in the comment section down below as a community. And as always, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. Also, subscribe to the Night Watch Zone, become a part of this community. And hey, if you enjoyed this, check out some of my other videos, and I'll catch you later. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace.